We don't have enough time.
Yes, we do, because first we'll start with Stuart Little.
Yay!
Konnichiwa, everyone, and welcome to Senpai's Dojo, the longest-running weekly episodic podcast on this channel, mainly because it's the only one that we have that runs every week. But that's besides the point. My name is Brad. I am the host for this show, and my co-host for this particular show is Norwood. Say hi.
No, I refuse.
Oh, well, that's one way to introduce yourself to everyone.
Haha, I'm friendly.
And then also, we have two of my other really good friends here. You have Gammy. Say hi.
What up?
And Eric.
Hello.
So, how's everyone's week going? Because I rarely get to talk to all of you, especially all together.
I am going to a wedding in 2 days.
Congrats. Hopefully it's not your own. Just kidding, I love Sarah.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Taking bullets. This early in the stream, taking bullets.
Shade. So much shade.
No, I'm the only one with shit going on this week.
That's the way it sounds, because I work my life away. So outside of starting this podcast, I have absolutely nothing exciting going on whatsoever.
Yeah. I failed the test today. So, there's that.
Well,
Yes.
congratulations, or I'm sorry, depending on how hard the class is or what's going on.
It's quant to methods of business, which is like calculus and statistics.
Oh, wow, yeah.
You lost me at calculus.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fun.
you failed the test. I failed the game. I have to say I lost the game already. It's been like 9 years, and I finally lost it.
Why? Why would you be?
Yeah, it's,
Well,
you also lost the game, Eric.
I
So.
just lost the game. Thanks, man.
Damn it! I just realized what you guys are talking
I,
about.
I hate you all. I hate all of you.
Damn,
Now no
I
one's
haven't
lost
heard
the
it.
game.
I haven't heard that in so long.
I haven't
It's been so
either.
many
But
years.
then again, I feel like I made that joke the other day and pissed somebody off. I just can't remember who it was that I pissed off. But it was somebody.
You can make that
But
joke
no,
in like at any crowd, and it would piss them off if they know what it is.
it really would. Like, that just instantly pisses off whoever's around you.
Oh yeah.
Especially our generation. Like, dear Lord.
Well, hey,
So-
now if anybody watches this video, they're gonna get pissed off. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
good.
that's true. Everybody that's watching
Yeah.
the stream, everybody who's watching it in post. Yeah, just
If
everybody.
you know what the game is, you've lost.
Oh yeah, everybody's lost. If you're just even thinking about it,
Yeah.
I'm so upset that we haven't been playing the game for this long.
No,
Oh,
no,
I've been
you
playing the
always
games.
play
I've been
the
playing the game out of the
The
womb.
game always plays.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
Game's always in play. Yeah.
So, Eric, how was your week? You're the only one who hasn't told us what you have going on.
after Monday, because I work a weird schedule, this way I can enjoy my weekend and nurse the killer hangover I might have.
Oh, uh-huh.
Because I haven't
So-
got any kind of fun, and I figured I'm going to have it this weekend.
Well, it is WrestleMania weekend, so perfect time.
Exactly.
Okay, and
So-
so now, who wants to talk about some news?
This
Mob
is it.
Psycho 100 just got a OVA announced.
Really? How is that show? Because I've only seen a couple episodes, so I can't go into
I'm
detail
not
all that much
fully
about it.
caught up to season 2. I've seen the first 2 episodes, but I love season 1. If people don't know what Mob Psycho is, you've probably heard of a more like popular show that the guy who wrote it did, which is One Punch Man, which is about to start season 2. But
I get a question. Is Mob Psycho the one where the that certain people are considered psychotic and they hunt them, and then the like the characters in the show, some of them are psychos that work for the police department?
yeah,
Is
it's
that-
kind of
is
like
that-
there's like shady like underground organization kind of thing, which is like they're all like psychos that got like different kind of like telepathic powers for the most part.
They're all basically
Okay.
espers in a sense. Like I've gathered that much from reading the manga because I think I'm like halfway through with the manga, but I've only seen 2 episodes of the anime. One thing I can really say about the anime though is the psychedelic like animation that they have whenever Mob starts using his powers is amazing. Like I
Yeah,
love that.
it's definitely really cool. It's also the manga's pretty great too because if anybody's read the original One Punch Man manga, not the re-releases, they're really hard to get through because the art style is pretty rough.
Oh, like even the Mob Psycho drawings in the manga are they're interesting to see for sure. I really like it because it's different than everything you've ever seen. But man, is it's something else.
Yeah. And I'm reading a headline right now. Apparently the OVA is going to be bundled with the Blu-ray and DVD release for Mob Psycho Volume 2.
Really?
Yeah. Which
And I'm actually
as of
intrigued
this
about
live
that.
stream is actually already out.
Really?
It came out yesterday.
Is
So
it like a Japan exclusive or is that something we can get our hands on?
it doesn't say according to the Tokyo News, but I'm assuming that it's bundled with the American release too.
Huh. I got you. I got you.
So
Well, for our second piece of news, Sword Art Online, the Alicization arc, is getting its third core, and it has been announced for October. Now, I think I'm the only one out of this group that really pertains to, but I can definitely say that this has been the best arc that SAO has ever done, by far. Like, it decided to punch me in the feels. That's how much this
Well,
decided to mess with me.
I need to give it a shot then because I've seen the first and second season. I wasn't pleased with where the show, maybe the direction the show eventually went,
Hmm.
and so
same.
I've been kind of standoffish against Sword Art. So maybe I'll have to check that out.
Did you and
Yeah.
I ever watch, or you, me, and Eric ever watch Ordinal Scale? Because I know I have the DVD, but I can't remember if we ever watched it.
Um, no, we had a plan to watch it, but we didn't. I know we watched Your Name that one night, and
Hmm.
we had a marathon, which by the way, I have mentioned say that we need to do a Ghibli marathon.
Yes, I'm
Um,
totally down for that whenever
uh,
and anytime I'm in town. Which
If
we
we ever
may
get
and
the
actually.
opportunity.
I'll be back the 3rd through the 8th. So the 6th, I think, is a Monday. If we all want to get together and do that, because I know that Tuesday we've talked about doing other things, but that Monday, I'm
yeah,
totally
I'm
down.
always yeah. I know because you have you own like Princess Mononoke and stuff like that, don't you?
Yeah, I own quite a few of them. My Neighbor Totoro. I have quite a few of them, so we can definitely go on
First
a
was when
Right.
pack.
Uh, the Studio Ghibli is amazing,
Yes, it very much is.
Oh yeah.
and for them to do the animation for Nino Kuni, the first one was that's what really caught me.
God, man, the
Uh,
physics of the cape that would just like flap behind the character
oh
was
man,
amazing.
yeah,
Like that was
they just have
insane.
they just have a way of I don't know conveying things in their animations. It's just it's really impressive.
That
Yeah.
they do.
Especially like if what is that one they have the Firefly one? I don't know if you Grave of the Fireflies, maybe that's what it's called.
You've told me about that one, and I keep meaning to get around to watching it, and I just
Yeah,
haven't found the time yet.
it's like being punched in the heart 1,000 times. Yeah, it's very good. It's an extremely depressing anime that has happy notes in it, but ultimately overall it's take your Zoloft before you watch it. But yeah, it's wonderful, wonderful studio.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And then I think for the third piece of news, Gammy, that one definitely pertains the most to you.
Oh man, I want to talk. I want to talk about yes, yes. I want to talk about the Promise Neverland. It's incredible. If you have not seen it, watch it.
I really need to start that.
It's
The
really
last
good.
episode of the season just released not long ago, like last week maybe or something. But uh, it's about these three main characters. You've got Emma, Norman, and Ray, and they're in an orphanage with a bunch of other kids, and things are not as they seem. I know spoilers. The everything about this show, the animation, the how they convey depth and tension, and the heaviness that you feel watching it. It's fantastic. It seems like they're making a second season next year, which I'm really excited about. It's worth a watch. Please do yourself a favor and watch it.
Yeah,
That'll
from what
probably
I've
be
seen,
the
I could
next series
definitely
I start.
recommend it.
Yeah, it's not a big commitment. It's 10, 12 episodes, something like that. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. From episode one. I mean, episode one will get you. It'll get you. Just watch it. Watch one episode.
Hard.
It does. Yeah. I would say it starts soft and ends hard.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a real reason to keep watching the show. It just takes one episode. It has no workup like a lot of other animes where you have to get into it. You have to give it time. That first episode will punch you right at the end of it. So
Yeah, usually most
Watch it.
animes I'll start and I'll have like a 3-episode system, and if I don't like it by the end of the 3rd episode, then I'll just stop it. But that one definitely
and
had
we
me
all
hooked right off the bat.
yes. I agree with you on that too because the world of anime is so convoluted sometimes. Like you have to pick and choose, and something new's coming out all the time, or being revised. So I definitely agree with your 3-episode limit there. That's good. That's good method.
Yeah, it's
But
definitely the one that works for me.
Yeah, The Promised Neverland is not that anime. Watch it. Read the manga. The manga is way farther, from what I understand, of course, than the anime. They're way deeper, and I've seen bits and pieces from the manga, and I am so fucking excited about this anime.
Right on.
Yeah, so watch it.
Definitely.
What else we got, Brad?
And then, in another piece of news, Makoto Shinkai, his new film, Weathering with You, has released new key images. And that was the video that I sent you all before we started this. The visuals look absolutely stunning, and I cannot be more excited to see what he comes out with next for this one.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll put a link in the description of the YouTube video for this.
And for those of you who don't know who Makoto Shinkai is, his most famous or most notable works are 5 centimeters per second, Garden of Words, and definitely for, I believe, his biggest release is Your Name, which
Has to be. It's number one in Japan.
Oh, most certainly. And not only that, but it's one of my, actually, it's tied for my favorite film of all time. Like, it is absolutely phenomenal.
I agree. A film that I've watched definitely more than once.
Yeah, I try to watch as much as possible.
4 or 5 runs on it right now.
I mean, kind of something that you can't just not watch more than once.
I think so. I think
It was definitely something that was. It was so good, in the sense that when you sent me the link, they watch it at the house for free, and I had started watching it off of that link. I realized the quality wasn't so good that I just went ahead and bought the movie. So I now own it digitally on X.
I think you're talking about a different movie, Eric.
Yeah, I think you're talking about our topic for today. I don't think you're talking about Your Name.
Your Name is a film.
You're talking about Your Name, right?
Your Name,
yeah, which is a film
that I brought the DVD over.
I purchased it too.
Yeah, we
purchased
no.
that one too.
Oh, did you?
Oh, okay.
Well, good for you, because they
They
deserve all of the praise possible.
Look,
Yeah.
That's at what? Cheap.
You're breaking in and out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your internet's kind of going in and out there, bud.
It's it's fantastic film. The art direction in that film is great. You can tell they spent a lot of time making that movie.
Oh, they did.
A lot of attention to detail, which is really cool. just bringing the new world into anime. Just like the modern technology is amazing.
Oh, that was definitely like a showing of what like animators and
Uh,
animation
can
studios
be,
can do
yeah,
today. Like especially if you put
yeah,
in that much work, like you can tell it
definitely,
was definitely
definitely.
a passion product or project by
Hmm.
everyone as part of it.
Most definitely. Uh,
Oh yeah.
and again, the soundtrack. I mean, just watch it if you haven't seen it. Watch it. It's a fantastic film.
Oh, definitely. And that is actually going to be our topic here in 2 weeks. So tune in for that. But
Ta-da!
seamless transition and shameless
Ah,
plug all at once.
gotta gotta do the plug.
And for our final piece of news for the week, One Punch Man releases on Hulu next week on April 9th for its second season.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, didn't they just release not too long ago the English dub? Didn't the English dub come out?
They did.
For season 1?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on Hulu,
Yeah.
but for some reason it's not on Netflix yet, which has honestly surprised me.
I could be wrong. I don't have it pulled up here, but I think Hulu got some exclusive rights with it.
Well,
Which
I guess I could see that for the sole fact of they are getting the second season well before Netflix is, but also Netflix doesn't simulcast anything in the U.S. It will in every other country except for ours,
Yeah.
which in the case of Violet Evergarden, I wanted to fling everything out the window.
Oh yeah.
right, unless like it's an exclusive.
Yeah, like if it's an exclusive,
Um,
that's one thing. But,
yeah, like a Netflix exclusive.
which Violet
Like
Evergarden was.
like Seven Deadly Sins, Devil May Cry
Netflix
Baby.
feels-
So,
Yeah.
One Punch Man always reminds me of adult Caillou. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I could.
yeah, if
I
you
could
if
see
you
that.
have listened, this is serious. If you have not seen that spoof they do where they put the Caillou song behind One Punch Man, it'll blow your mind. It's intense. It's awesome. If
I
you
have
have
not
not,
seen that.
you should look it up. One Punch Man
it's
Caillou.
Yeah.
phenomenally hilarious.
It's
Ha
awesome.
have you guys seen the YouTube videos of Caillou as an adult?
No, but
I have
I wouldn't
not.
be surprised if it's One Punch Man.
No, it's just him being an adult and he's still acting like a little
Caillou, a
baby.
spoiled
Yeah.
brat. Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
like an animation or is it like live?
Yeah, it's animated and it makes it look like the same art style and everything. Like it's so weird
Oh,
because he's like 40 something and he's just still calling his parents like mommy and daddy.
oh
He's acting
man,
like a little
that's
kid. It's
creepy.
hilarious. Yeah.
I will definitely watch that.
Oh, I may have to actually give that a look into as well then, because that sounds wonderful.
Oh yeah.
All right, so should we talk about our topic for the week?
Let's
Do
do
we
it.
have any objections?
Do you mean A Silent Voice? The movie?
No,
Dude,
How did you guess? That was the most
I
well-kept secret on the planet.
I know, it totally isn't in the thumbnail.
Oh, definitely not. And
Oh,
not on
Look at us.
every single thing that I've posted on every social media that I have.
Are you talking about Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, to which they could follow? You at?
Yes, absolutely. And you totally cannot find me on Instagram at Brad Carter Gaming or Twitter at Brad Carter Game In because you can't have a G apparently at the end of your name because it is over 15 characters.
Brad, why you plugging everything, man? No one likes this stuff.
Plug.
Come on, you need to
Hey,
calm down,
you
alright?
always need shameless plugs. Shameless plugs are what makes the world go round.
Brad,
Right.
we need you to dial it down.
Or the world go around you.
20%.
The world does revolve around me. First of all, okay, this is my show. I do what I want. And if I want to shameless plug myself or my friends, I very damn will.
It's alright, I'll edit it out.
There's just gonna be a giant bleep and post of me going on a rant.
Yeah. It'll just be, we'll get up to that point, and then everything will just get bleeped out, and it'll just be like a
Yeah.
good like 2-minute bleep, and then we'll just go back. All right, guys, now on to Silent Voice.
Straight beep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
make sure
one
you put
solid
plug though,
beep.
so they know that you're modest.
But I guess a little background info for A Silent Voice. The film opened at number 2 in the Japanese box office, right behind Your Name, which if you haven't seen that film and you're like me, who also hasn't seen that film, but everyone keeps telling you that it's great, it's kind of easy to understand why it opened behind that. But for an anime movie, it definitely had a really good opening box office. It made 2.2 billion yen in Japan, which translates to about 20 million US dollars. And
And for
then
like a
it's
small animation studio to make that, especially in an opening day, like to gross that much, like that's phenomenal, especially behind Your Name that opened right at the same time.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and its first 2 days it did 283 million yen, which is 2.5 million. So yeah, no, it did extremely well for itself.
what's weird though, it actually had a better opening weekend in China.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of interesting. It had a $5 million opening weekend in China, but it only grossed like about 6.5 million in China.
So started off real strong and then finished
Yeah,
super weak.
and then basically made nothing else, but it still did better than over here in the US, which right now has a domestic lifetime gross of about 650,000. So,
Well,
Well,
I
it only
think
what it only showed for like not long, right? It only
yeah,
opened
yeah,
like
it
a year
but that's
later or something like that in October or
we
something.
had
but that's
two
also
premieres and they were both 2 days each. One was Japanese and one was English.
Mm,
yeah.
And that happened both times. So, and it only played in select theaters. It's not like Broly that premiered in every single theater multiple times. This was like
right.
we all
Yeah.
had to drive to Chattanooga to go see this, except for Norwood who watched it or who bought the film or however it was that he watched it. Anyway,
Yeah,
like
I
we
bought
had to
it
drive to
on
Chattanooga,
PSN.
which for
Do you
me
know who?
is 3 hours.
Do you know who took over the English dub?
I do not.
I believe it was Shout Studios and 11 Arts, if I'm not mistaken, who did the
Oh,
English
okay.
dub on it. And
Yeah.
11 Arts,
Well,
by the way, have done a lot of phenomenal stuff.
yeah, they did. They did a good job.
Oh, they did. And that's such a good movie, but we can get into all that here in a minute. The Japanese
Yeah.
animation studio who did this film was Kyoto Animation, and some of the stuff that they're most notable for is Sound Euphonium, Hyoka, which thanks to Gammy, I gave that a watch, Full Metal Panic, and most notably, because it's mainstream, because it made Netflix, was Violet Evergarden. And what a show
Interesting.
that was.
But also, Silent Voice actually won quite a few awards for being out. It won a Japanese Academy Award for Excellent Animation of the Year, and in the UK, it was nominated for a lot of things. It won Anime UK Newsreader Best Movie and Best Soundtrack awards, and plus a couple others for the characters.
Hmm, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
And the director on this film was Naoko Yamada, who is notable for K-On! Films, or for all of the K-On! Films, the Sound Euphonium show, and all of the films, and Liz and the Bluebird, which just actually released on DVD not too long ago and was actually a really good film. So next time I'm in town, well, I'll have to watch that because I do have the DVD for it.
Heck yeah.
Just let us know when.
Well, you all know when I'll be in town. Make an appointment because my time is valuable because I'm only back for so little time and I never get to see y'all.
Yeah.
So, do
Will
we
do.
actually want to get into our thoughts on the film?
Well, let me tell you.
Oh boy, here we go.
So, I have beef with this movie.
Okay.
There was some scenes that occurred that legitimately pissed me off.
Okay.
That and I have very strong feelings against,
Mm-hmm.
and I will tell you. So you know the main character, Shoya, Ashita.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even as a kid and older, the fucking tag on the back of his shirt is always sticking out, and it pissed me off every time I saw it.
You have been
Who
talking.
the hell has tags on the back of their shirt that is just always sticking out at all times? Every time he wore just regular casual wear, no, the fucking tag has to be sticking out. Every scene he's in, walking around, the fucking tag is out.
Do
And I
you,
want to
do
reach
you,
into the movie and rip it off.
do you ever think that maybe that's to humanize him,
It probably
to
did.
to make him to feel like everyone else, or like that he's not perfect, or he's not that he has problems.
Oh no. I agree. There probably is some fancy legit reason for this. You know, filmmaker stuff. But I don't care about that. It pissed me off.
You have been talking about this beef for days now, and this
Yeah.
is what you come at me with? Really?
Yeah, man. What are you trying to say? This isn't a real problem? All right.
I thought this was gonna be like legitimate. Like I thought we were about to
Yeah,
sit
man.
here and square off because this
You
is
could
one of my
you could
favorite
say, oh, the
films of
animation's
all
great.
time.
Oh, the story was impressive. Oh, like the sound design was amazing, and I will agree with you. But no, the fucking tag on the shirt, man.
Oh, come on. I mean, this is one of those things. You gotta let go of that. The movie was so good that
Well,
you're gonna be
he
upset
could
over a tag on a shirt.
he could let
You
go
can
of
call
that
me
tag.
petty. You can call me
No,
petty.
no.
I'm okay with that. But no,
No,
man.
Shoya, no, in his defense, Shoya could have got rid of the tag.
Yeah,
Okay?
man.
It was his responsibility to get rid of his tag.
Okay, but I mean, that's the thing though. Is if you've ever even let's just look about it. Not even anime. Let's just look at real life statistics of people who are planning on doing what he was planning on doing. I mean, he got rid of everything, all of his personal belongings, all of his money.
Don't go into any
What?
spoilers
You think
here.
he's really
We
gonna be
haven't thrown
worried about a
spoilers.
Yeah, yeah.
T-shirt with a tag?
Let's hold off on spoilers. But yeah, man, if he wanted to change so much, start with the fucking tag on the back of your shirt, show you. It's not that hard. I'm sure you have some scissors somewhere.
Oh no. It actually, for a fact, he has some scissors, considering who his mom is.
Oh yeah. Oh,
He
definitely.
for
You're right.
sure has a pair of scissors.
Okay. First
Yeah.
off, can we talk about the mom for a second? Best mom, like of the year.
Oh,
hands
yeah.
down in anime.
Yeah,
Best mom.
single mom, single. Yeah, she's loose cannon.
Loose cannon.
It's just
Yeah,
Like,
she's definitely she's not organized. She's not one of those organized moms who she's her own independent person. It really shows in the film too that she's just I don't know, man, that single mom life.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
just like
I don't know.
just best mom. That's all I can say. Is best mom in anime
I
of
can,
the year.
I can
Yeah.
say best mom, but I'm a little bit more partial to Shoko's mother.
Well,
I will
Shoko's
say that,
mother was just looking after Shoko though. So I mean, she was definitely like, mom, but best mom goes to Shoya's mom, hands down, whatsoever.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, Shoko's mom had a disabled child, so the requirements there are completely different. Her worries and concerns are going to be completely different from Shoya's mom, who
I
is
think it's, and I'm not trying to give away spoilers. That by no means am I, but I think it's by the end I have a lot more of an attachment towards her because of what she had gone through, or the development through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The
we
struggles
didn't
that she
get
had to deal
into
with.
a lot of the
I think that's fair.
like development.
Yeah,
and
but I
whatnot
think
through the film.
I think what we're really talking about here though is personality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I see what you guys are saying. I mean, she's definitely
She's more eccentric. She's
Exactly.
eccentric.
yeah.
Because
she's,
we
I
see
love
character
the-
growth from all of the characters.
I
Yeah,
love
of
the,
course.
the employment, which was it just I haven't really seen that in an anime. I'm not as diverse as you three are in the anime world, but I have yet to see an anime where that is an occupation of a character in the show.
Wait,
That was for me a first.
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
The mom's
You lost
the
me.
mom's job. The mom's
What,
job.
what, Which mom are we talking about now?
We're talking about the main
Talking
character.
about Shoya's?
The
Shoya's
two
Yeah,
mom?
main
Shoya's mom.
characters.
Shoya,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Shoya,
Okay.
not Shoko.
Yeah.
Okay, because
She,
I was going to say, as
I-
somebody who has read the manga, I'm still not sure what
Yeah.
Shoko's mom does.
Yeah.
This-
Well,
That's, who hasn't read the manga? Does she change occupations in the manga?
No, she is still best mom.
No,
That does not
yeah.
change.
I think we can talk about what her job is. I don't think that's
Oh
really
yeah,
a spoiler.
she's a hairstylist.
It really wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's a
she's
hairstylist, but I
flawless, yeah.
still that was like it just stuck out to me.
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
say that since she is a hairstylist, it actually is fitting that she has the crazy anime hair, and it actually makes sense.
Definitely,
it's
like,
awesome.
yeah, stylistic.
Yeah.
She says something about leaving her roots dark like that. She's making a statement.
And what a statement it is.
It's a very noticeable statement.
That's what it is.
Noticeable. It's
Yeah.
minute, and I like it. I like the minute things.
But,
Which is awesome though, because it makes Shoya's whole story impactful by no pun intended, the roots. Like
Yeah.
where his family's
leave the
at.
pun on that one.
Where his family's at, and then where you come to in the story shortly after the beginning, and where he's at now, and like what he's doing, and who he becomes, not only because of what happened, but where his roots are, where his family's at, and it really speaks volumes there, and it kind of gives his life a little more depth and more relatable, more relatable. I guess I don't know how else to say that, but. Yeah, being a Solanas is a cool choice on that note.
So if we're gonna go off on random rants about random things, can we just talk about how Shoya throughout the whole film, as a kid and as an adult, was a wannabe Super Saiyan with his hair?
Ah,
It was pretty spiky.
yeah.
Very spiky. But it was wavy too. It was weird. Like if you try to take a person who has an afro and spike it up into Super Saiyan hair, I feel like that's what would happen.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And
That's
then sound design, because Gammy, I know you really wanted to talk about the sound design in this film, because boy, is it
Yeah,
phenomenal.
Kensuke Yoshio, if I'm not butchering his name, he did such a good job with this whole film. From what I understand, it's 61 tracks. You can buy the soundtrack. It's on 2 CDs. The single they have, The Speed of Youth, man, it's good. It might sound weird. People might disagree with me, but like it almost reminds me of listening to lo-fi hip hop. It's just the ability to communicate depth and emotion in his music and still keep it like modern. It is phenomenal. Like I think it's one of my favorite things about this movie actually is the whole silent aspect of Shoko and the fact that the music is so loud in that regard. Just give me 1 second. I have to leave the chat real quick.
All right.
Okay.
But on the note of that, though, to kind of keep that point going, there was not a single song or music placement in this film that did not just complement it so well. Like everything fit perfectly, and that's rare for a anime film to achieve, because of just usually you'll get something like one or the other that overshadows. And
I
everything
think
just meshed so well.
stemming off, continuing this conversation about the music. I mean, if you look back at it, think about all anime across all spectrum. It's loud, it's fast. There's a lot of notes, tons of moving parts, and the reason why this stuck out so much is because it was simplistic. They didn't try to throw a million notes in a 4-minute song. They tried to fit 32 notes into like an hour-long song. I mean, they literally made it simplistic, which grabs you a little bit more because you're listening more intently. Like the difference between someone screaming at you and trying to get their point across, then when you whisper to someone, they stop what they're doing and try to listen even harder because they can't hear what you're saying, but they end up getting the message because it's simple.
Well,
And
I don't necessarily feel like the music was simple, as much
Not,
as
not
it.
simple in the sense that it wasn't really well thought out and well placed and all the notes were beautiful. I'm saying simple in the fact that they didn't put a crap ton of stuff into it that just didn't need to be there. What they did is they just threw in a little bit of piano,
Well,
a little bit of
it's
synthesizer here and there,
well,
and
yeah, well,
it was perfect.
it's ambience.
Exactly. That's the best way to explain it.
Yeah, I mean,
However, it did open with My Generation, which is pretty dope.
that
oh,
it
you're
did.
talking about
It is.
the intro credit scene? Are you talking about
Yeah,
that scene?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
That
think
was awesome.
it definitely fit like the whole like idea of like Shoya as a character, like just being a kid, just
Yeah, no,
trying to like fight off boredom and stuff. Like it really fit. I think the mood of
yeah.
the movie.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say it more or less like made you want to personalize with him because you're like, oh, he's being a kid, he's just being him, and then it kind of turns into what it turned into. A
Yeah.
little different.
And
Yeah, 'cause
then
it
Didn't
kinda
expect
fit.
it. And honestly, it led me in a different direction. Listening to the opening song, I was like, hey, and then the way the movie turned out, it was like I didn't expect that from the opener.
Yeah. It made me think of the Digimon movie, which opened with "One Week" by Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah,
Oh
perfect.
man, Bare Naked Ladies, that's awesome. Yeah.
And everybody can agree that the Digimon movie is by far the best anime movie of all time, hands down.
Wait.
Oh,
We all
stop.
wait.
Stop.
We have to talk. If I have to ask you, the most important question is,
Listen,
which Digimon movie are we referring to?
hey, you
I
Pikachu,
don't know,
slow
man.
down.
I can't remember.
Are we talking about like Digimon 2000? Are we talking about like?
Yeah, I don't know. All I remember about that movie is Bare Naked Ladies, and then there was something about a computer.
Yeah, greatest movie
Well,
of all
that's
time.
like every
All he knows is the
Digimon.
opener song.
That's like
Yeah,
all
man.
Digimon.
Greatest movie
Yeah,
of all
dude,
time.
greatest movie of all time. Why? Because it's got the bare naked ladies. What do you remember from it? Bright flashing lights?
Yeah,
it's like saying the first
Can you
Pokemon
argue?
film was the best Pokemon film because Pikachu.
Pikachu crying.
yeah, man.
Hold on.
It's gonna be great. It's also gonna be Detective Pikachu, which is about to come out too, which is gonna be pretty dope.
Oh, I am very much excited because Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if it was Danny DeVito, but I'll allow it.
Oh, goodness. And then, art style wise on this film, what did y'all think?
Oh, it was beautiful.
It was captivating too.
Yeah,
Like-
I think some of the subtleness of the animation was what really made it stand out.
Yeah, I feel like,
Yeah.
and I hate to sit here and compare it to Your Name, but if it had been as over, like, and Your Name wasn't overly animated by any means, but if it was animated the same way, I feel like the film probably wouldn't have had as much impact as it did.
I agree.
Because it didn't need all of that, just like it didn't need an over-the-top soundtrack or anything like that. Like everything from art style to soundtrack to character
Fit.
development, everything just fit perfectly.
Yeah. It sent the right message, and didn't try to do overly too much.
No, at certain scenes it kind of felt more realistic than an animation. I mean, it really did because the way that they had it drawn out and the way it went through, the movements were.
And then,
It just
which
felt good. It felt smooth.
we can get to
Yeah,
the
soft.
like facial animations with the X's and everything whenever we get actually into the film. But man, like some of that stuff was just, oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And so I guess on that note, do we want to get started on just a summary or just start talking about the film in general outside of just the
Like-
aspects of it? Like
Start
basically
doing,
getting into the
spoilers.
review
I
part.
actually
Yeah, spoilers,
have
whole
a
9
summary
yards.
pulled up. If you would like for me to just roll over it real quick.
Yeah, we got notes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Very
so
detailed notes.
Not very detailed. This is like real quick, but go ahead.
I mean,
so
I got
do you,
my
do you-
I got my shitty review, like summary.
if both of you can give a spoiler-free summary without spoiling anything, go for it.
Okay.
Done.
Eric, you go first.
Art, emotion, lots of no talking parts. Um,
Lots of no talking parts.
Lots of hands.
yes, hands, signs, messages.
Subliminal.
Tags
Yeah.
sticking out of his shirt.
Mm.
That's your whole summary right there.
Poor choice
talk.
in manufacture of the shirts.
Poor
just-
choice in shirt manufacturers. Well, I don't. Reading over this, I don't think there's any spoilers in it.
There's
So-
spoilers all over it. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
It's really just like a short, like what this thing is, what the story's about, and it's A Silent Voice follows a moving story of Shoya Ishida, a school bully, and Shoko Nijima. I don't even think I'm saying that last name right. Anyways, a
Nishimiya,
young girl who is
but continue.
Nishumiya. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. A young girl with a hearing disability. Her story begins in 6th grade when Shoko transfers to Shoya's elementary school and quickly finds herself bullied and isolated due to her hearing disability. Years later, the tables turn and Shoya finds himself the victim. A Silent Voice depicts the struggles and challenges of adolescence alongside coming of age and outside the norm.
Okay, you know what? That's actually a very good summary.
That's not bad. It's a good summary. Yeah.
That's a lot better than what I have.
Yeah,
I'm still assuming yours is just shirt.
Shirt.
Make sure you cite that summary though.
Yeah.
Wikipedia.
Yeah. If
I'll
it's
cite
not
it for
yours,
him.
make sure you cite it.
No,
Yep.
no. That was not mine. That was actually cited off of the original movie website that I've just recently found.
11
Okay,
arts.
I'll
So that goes to you.
Thank you. I was. If you want the website, I will give it to you. Here it's RottenTomatoes.com. So it's totally not the website that I was thinking it was, but
Well, Rotten Tomatoes also gave that movie a 94%. So.
it did. And to me, that's a high. You know, I love Rotten Tomatoes. They're really good when it comes to movies.
I'm gonna be very.
I agree until I disagree. So
Until
like
you disagree.
like,
Exactly.
this is
There's certain movies that they've given
this
poor
yeah
review
this is
on.
yeah like this is completely unrelated. But Glass, I feel like that movie was unfairly reviewed. But that's
What did they give it?
They gave
I didn't
it,
like that movie.
did you watch all of them though?
Scammy,
Yes, I did.
What did they give it?
They gave it a crap score, which I don't think it deserved. Because I really
I
appreciated
enjoyed it.
that film.
I enjoyed it.
You didn't watch Glass?
Yes, I did. Mr. Glass?
When did you watch Glass?
It was on Netflix. I was
No,
scrolling
it's
through the
not.
other day. I watched it, and then you and I had a conversation about continuing with Split.
No, Split is the continuation of Unbreakable.
No. Unbreakable's a
Glass was the last film. It was in theaters not that long ago.
Oh, so okay, never mind. I'm thinking of Unbreakable then, which is the one with Samuel Jackson and. or not
Yeah,
Samuel Jackson.
that's the
Yeah,
first one.
That's Samuel. That's the okay. Then I watched the first one.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Right.
Completely off topic again.
Anyway,
so
yeah, none of that matters. But
That's for a different cast at a different time.
yeah, different subject.
And so
We'll do that
now,
one day, maybe.
yes, I'm totally down at some point if we all just want to review all the films that M. Night Shyamalan has ever done. Period.
Well, we'll see.
We don't have enough time.
Yes, we do, because first we'll start with Stuart Little.
The greatest movie of all time.
Let's
Yeah,
start with Stuart.
No, it's true. It's like one of the
Stuart
the
Little,
most.
the greatest anime of all time. What do you?
It's like you
Remember-
go back to M. Night Shyamalan. You're like The Happening. You're talking about The Sixth Sense and The Village, and then all of a sudden you got Stuart Little. So it's a very unbalanced movie in his filmography there, but.
Touche. But anyways,
Yeah.
Brad, what would you like to discuss next?
Okay, so I believe like now we're actually going to go through a full run through of the film. So now is definitely the time for spoiler warning. So if you have not seen this film, go see it. Go
Yes,
watch it and
and-
then come back and listen to this. That's what I recommend.
Spoiler warning on the screen now.
Bam.
He tells himself to edit it out later.
Spoiler warning on the screen for the
That's
podcast.
No, he's gonna YouTube
Well,
it. So
Yeah,
it's
this
gonna be
is
on
all going to
YouTube.
be uploaded later.
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say I dressed up for this radio show, and I really feel like someone is undermining my fashion here. So
So,
Well,
like, I'm not going to lie. I dressed up for this, too. SAO Bridge, my Fresh Out of Mercy shirt. I made sure to wear that just for this podcast.
shout out.
yeah. Well, you
I
know,
wear
my
my
mom
trucker
always
hat.
told me I have a
Not gonna
face for
lie,
radio.
Right. A face for radio. Oh wow.
Norwood, I want you to call your mom right now and tell her that her dreams for you have come true.
came true.
Mom, I'm doing it. I'm really doing it.
Okay. I want to ask you guys too, though. So do you guys have one of those Satoshi friends in your life?
A Satoshi pen.
A friend, a Satoshi friend, a friend such as Satoshi.
What?
Wait, yeah, explain.
The character.
Yeah, the character Satoshi.
Okay, yeah, I was like, what the fuck does that word mean?
I think each of us have at least had one of those in one of those in their lives. I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Satoshi is such a interesting character in that show. I think, like as a friend, because you have friends, you have modest friends. He has other friends in the show, or whatever. But Satoshi is that special kind of overachiever. It's almost that girlfriend to boyfriend kind of protectiveness.
Completely.
It's like, what you say about her hair, I will rip your face off.
Yeah, just like that. I mean, we're way past the spoilers right now, but like that there's a scene where he's talking. What is he doing with his hands? Well, he's talking. That's my man.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I was like, okay,
Right.
we're going a little too far, but I'm alright with it.
Your friend thinks the sun shines out of your ass.
Exactly.
All right, Brad.
So,
Bradley Son, where are we starting?
hi.
What would you like to rant on since we're on clothing and
Well,
boyfriendish girls?
Well, we're gonna talk about the complete film, correct?
Yeah, now we're gonna actually start from the beginning, work our way through the end, however long it's going to take. Because I feel like with this film, you have to go through it all, just because
2 hours.
All 2 hours of it. We're
We
gonna break
have
it
to
down
do
scene
frame by
scene,
frame.
frame by frame.
Yeah. Yep.
You do it.
All 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 17 seconds of it.
4-hour podcast.
Because we spent the first, I don't even know how long, just shooting the shit to where now we have to actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, this podcast has already been going for 53 minutes, but who cares? Time's flying by.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
Yeah. That's almost 50 minutes of complete spoiler-free information.
Yes, almost
So-
completely.
Free, just for you.
Yeah.
I'll insert a random spoiler in there.
Just random somewhere, doesn't matter. Just bleep it out whenever you're listening to
Now.
this in post and editing it.
Yeah. Nah, I'm not doing that. That's a lot of editing.
All right, Brad, kick it off.
They'll figure it out.
All right, so the film
What are we
opens.
opening with?
The very beginning.
Yes, we're starting from beginning
Wait,
and
we
working
already,
our way to the end.
we already did that. We already did that great song.
No, there's a
No,
scene.
that's not how it
There's a
opens.
very
Yeah.
small scene
I know.
right before it.
Yeah.
So the film
know, I was just
opens
thinking.
with him like selling everything, tearing the bid out of his calendar. He's pulling out all the money out of his banking account, taking all the money, piling it up, putting it in an envelope and laying it beside his mom's pillow, and then walking out the door. And he walks to a bridge, and he stands on it, and he looks like he's getting ready to throw himself off, and then he stops, and then cuts into the My Generation montage of him as a kid, just being a kid,
Okay.
going through
Let
life.
me, can I make a little observation for that scene?
Yes.
Go for it.
It shows him climbing up onto the handrail as if he's going to jump off the bridge. But when he hears the fireworks over on the side, he looks down and sees the fireworks, and it immediately cuts to him just standing on the bridge. Is it possible that they were trying to make it look or seem as if he was thinking about doing it instead of actually?
Whoa.
That's the
Okay,
bridge.
so
Yeah, that was him thinking about it, but then it kind of ties into like something that's towards the end of the movie.
Yeah. I was about to say
That's
that. Like, I just
Yeah.
made a connect. I just made a connection I never made before with that
that.
film.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
what I mean. That's why I was trying to like point that out before we continue.
Yeah. That just got Destiny style on me. Like
There's a couple of other things that.
yeah, well, that's some Fate shit, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, here's the thing
That's some
too.
Fate shit.
I've like I said, I've watched this thing a couple of times this week and a couple of times last week. Just really getting into it, and I've noticed little things as I've watched it over and over again. Every single time I've watched it, I've caught something new.
That's the moniker of a good movie. So
Exactly.
Yeah, there's always something else to see and notice and learn, unless you're Norwood and you watch it for the first time and all you pay attention is a shirt tag hanging out of the back.
That's
You know, it's the important detail of the movie that I don't think many people were gonna pick up on.
Maybe
I
next
wanted
time
to
he
hit
watches it, he'll realize that not Shoko, him as an adult, really doesn't take care of his tie or his shirt tail either.
Yeah, that's one
Yeah,
thing I
I saw
noticed.
that
As
too.
somebody who enjoys dressing up, I'm like, he does not like to tuck his shirt in.
No. Can I make one quick point before we go back into like reviewing the movie?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
This movie was almost like a Guy Ritchie movie, which if you guys aren't fully familiar with him, he's the one that did the Sherlock Holmes movie, like 1 and 2. He did
Ah.
Snatch, and it was kind of like this detail where like Guy Ritchie, he's got a very like similar case of movies where when the movie opens, it's already doing something that is kind of like connected to the ending.
Isn't he doing the new Aladdin?
Is he? Oh boy, that movie's gonna be great.
I'm,
But
I'm excited.
Really.
I'm excited.
but
Different
But
time,
anyways,
different place.
yeah. But anyways, the Guy Ritchie formula is connects like the beginning with the ending in some kind of way. Already starts out with some type of like critical part of the movie, and then like it does like those scenes where it's like, all right, how are we gonna do this thing? And then it like flashes forward or flashes back to like how it actually happened. Like it already like flashes ahead, which this movie did quite a bit with different scenes, where we kind of like go ahead and tell you what happened, and then later on allude to how it actually happened, which is
It
very
gives you
like
the full
Guy
run
Ritchie
up
thing.
on everything.
I can agree on that, but I can also disagree because if you think about it, what the calendar is going to be your go-to on that situation. Because like Brad said,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
rips the calendar apart, right?
Yeah.
After we get into the very next, well, his first adulthood scene, you'll see him taping the calendar back up. So it does show you a little bit, but it kind of continues off of that first scene a little bit further into the movie.
Yeah. I'm not saying like it's like a fully like 100% Guy Ritchie movie, but watching it, it really reminded me of like how he did like movies and stuff. So I just really got like a Guy Ritchie feel of a movie when I was watching this.
Vibing.
All right. And so, following into that, like after you see the whole montage of him being a kid, playing with his buddies, them wrestling about, jumping into the river, and whatnot, I gotta say this film, like, starts off wanting you, like, you can automatically tell he's our main character, and the film just starts off getting you to like really like this kid because you can relate to him because we were all, that kid at some point. And then gets into class and they find out that there's a new student going to be joining them. So she joins the class, she comes in, and the teacher asks her to introduce herself, but she doesn't hear him. So he's got to tap her on the shoulder, get her attention, and she pulls out a notebook.
Yeah, man, kids these days just don't pay attention.
No, they definitely don't. ADHD. And all that other nonsense. But pulls out a notebook, flips through it, and just tells everyone that she's deaf. And it was like a pin drop moment in the class for everyone.
It was probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie, for sure.
Oh,
Because I think
I definitely agree.
they did it really well. They animated it really well. They made it look very believable and how like everyone was reacting. It seemed kind of like genuine, I guess you could say, for like a feel
That-
of a.
That is one thing I'll say about this is like as the story progresses, like it really does show how kids are. Like it does a really good job of just portraying kids being kids.
Right.
And like
yeah.
how they slowly turn against her and everything.
Yeah, but I also think Takeuchi is like, a little bit responsible for how far things got.
Oh yeah, like he
know,
could
like,
have like
he
cut
could have
shit down
he could have stepped in
real quick.
he could have stepped in and been a to do his job, to be a teacher, to squash a lot of what was going on. But until the principal got involved and the parents got involved, he didn't have that voice he should have had.
At that point, he failed.
It's funny you bring that up because it's like my fifth or sixth note or some. It's very early on in the notes that I took that the teacher is definitely an asshole.
Yeah, most definitely.
Several times in the classroom, he even called on some of the students to not be that way, and yet they continue. So you can see that he's not really doing his part in preventing the situation from escalating.
He's definitely not doing as much as he could have,
Oh yeah,
for
most
sure.
definitely.
And especially for him to be able to witness so much, to witness so much of it firsthand, to call out here and there or whatever, but to do really nothing about it.
Yeah, so he's definitely at fault for a lot of it.
Yeah, definitely, for how far things escalated.
Yeah. And so after she tells the class she's deaf, she tells everybody that if they want to communicate with her, to use the notebook. And so as school goes along, she can't hear, so she can't take notes properly, and the teacher is constantly facing the board. So she can't even read lips, which she somewhat has the ability to do, and with her hearing aids as well, so it kind of helps. But
Right,
so
that's like when her classmate asks her if she speaks Japanese, right?
Yeah.
She's able to kind of understand what she said.
Mm-hmm. As long as she can, I guess, read lips, because bless you, by the way, but
Thank you. It's pollen.
it definitely is. It's that time of year.
Eric's streaming right now from a cornfield.
I know. In case you didn't know.
Live
Thank
in
you,
the
it's
middle
pollen.
of Nebraska. It's
I
pollen.
take that bless you as a compliment.
No.
I've been working on this for like 30 years now. My allergies. Come on.
Eric, this is the
I've
South.
got them to
Bless
a
you
level.
and bless your heart are both very sinful things to say to someone.
Also
Interesting.
a very southern thing to say to someone.
It is.
Very
It
southern.
very
It
much
can be
is.
offensive or it can be a blessing. So.
Yeah. So
Well,
take
bless
that
your
how
heart
you
is-
will.
Yeah.
Oh, bless his heart.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
That's it. But
All right. So, continue.
yeah. So back on it. So other students are, taking her notebook, helping her take notes and everything. And as it slowly goes along, you see them slowly start to turn. Like here I am having to take notes for her, try to keep up with everything, and then take my own notes.
Stand as a
And
burden.
yeah, they're just all starting to see her as a burden because they're all having to do all this extra work. And then, as the class starts to turn against her, then you start to see Shoya, our main character, who's basically the leader or the class clown out of the group, start to, in essence, mess with her and start bullying her. I mean, he's definitely not the first one to, instigate it all, but he's the one who always takes it too far. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I think so. But do you think maybe Shoya's the reason why he acts so eccentric that way or goes over the top is because of the attention that it provided him?
I think so, because he was
the sense of fit in.
Yeah, because he was the attention guy in the class. Everybody knew him, everybody loved him. That was just
Right, but for a different reason though. It was he tried for attention or tried for friendship and not necessarily was just that guy.
I think
it
it does go back.
entertainment. It was entertainment for everybody else in the classroom.
Yeah,
They
because
did so much.
like, I don't think he was
They
doing
didn't
it
claim.
to.
It's one of those things like if.
Well, because there's a moment in that film where like you see him feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
With the pawn scene. Like where. Like,
not
where
even just the pawn scene. I mean, he did whenever he
bad.
ripped out the hearing aids. When he ripped out the hearing aids, you could see genuine hurt in his self because he realized he had caused pain to somebody else.
Yeah, well, she was like literally bleeding from her ear.
Yeah, like, and
that was
that was
a
a lot of blood too.
But
Like, to see it like drip down her arm that much, but.
And I think they later alluded to that, like fully, like permanently, like damaged her ear even more, because she can only start wearing the hearing aid in one ear.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get to that scene too, because at first, like, I wasn't sure about what was going on because of who else was in that scene at the time, and then what happened shortly thereafter. It kind of threw me for a loop. But yeah, so Shoya starts picking on her slowly, like starts ramping it up more and more, and then I know I have it somewhere in my notes, whoever the chick is, who was the other big person in...
Oh, you're talking about Naiko? Or...
Naoka, that's it. It's Naoka.
Naoka, that's it, yeah.
Yeah. So, Naoka is like, hey, what's in your ears? Can I see those? And then just takes them out of her ear. And
oh, you're talking about later in the film?
Oh, no, like, right here. Like, as they're starting to, turn on and everything.
She flips back her hair and says, what are these?
Because doesn't she do something similar to that later?
She does.
Yeah.
And that was honestly, like, where I got in the film this last time to try to get my notes taken. But I remember enough to get my way through from then on out, because, like, the last 45 minutes of the film.
Yeah, she sees, I guess she catches a glimpse of it, because it never really shows that she catches a glimpse of it. But she walks up and she flips her hair back, and she's like, what are these sticking out of your ears? And she asks, can I see one? And she actually pulls one out of her ear and hands it to her.
And then from there, she tosses it to Shoya, and Shoya is like, ooh, earwax, and then just chucks it out the window. And then from there, it all escalates to, it's like a montage of him just like, bullying her and everything. And the whole time, like, you just see, like, Shoko is apologizing. And, like, it's... Every time she apologizes, like, you can see it, like, somewhat, like, affect Shoya for a second. And then he just gets pissed off about it. I guess because in his mind he knows he's wrong, but he's going to keep doing it because, again, it keeps getting him attention.
Attention, right.
Yeah. And so
I think it also, like, pertained to being it, like, you're inconveniencing all my friends and stuff like that, so it was, like, him getting retribution for that in a weird way, but he's a kid, so he doesn't actually understand. Like,
I don't know, though, because, like it's the scene after, like, everyone gets involved, right, and he actually gets in physical trouble, and then Kazuki and his friend throw him in the pond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because even though Shoya absorbed all of the damage, right, from all of the prosecution, being in trouble, then his friend Kazuki and stuff throw him in the pond. So to me, it really leads me to believe that no one really even likes Shoya. Like, not really.
I mean, it's one of those things where a whole group of people get together and have a party, and you're not even supposed to be at that party due to your parents or work or whatever. But it's such a big deal that you want to be a part of it, to be like, yeah, that was me because it was cool. And then at the point where it becomes bad, you can distance yourself from it. So I feel like everybody was standing close to Shoya as in a sense of like he was a fire, and he was engulfing, and everybody was kind of just staying close to him for the heat. But whenever he exploded, everybody backed off.
Or maybe in the same point, like, you go to a party, but it's your friend's party, and you're only there because of your friend, and then you and your friend aren't friends anymore, and you're no longer invited to the party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This party was very
Right, like he was never really a part of the party.
exactly.
The party
He
block.
just he just gave they just had ammo now to exclude him.
And like it almost like again, it goes back to the nature of how kids are and how like none of them
Vindictive and yeah, totally.
yeah, like
You
none of
can
them want
see
to take the blame. Like they instantly made him the scapegoat because he
Yeah,
They were
was
all
the one who
they were
took
all
it too
they were all
far.
the problem, right?
Yeah.
And when they were all the problem, right?
Exactly. Then this is one of the things that I noticed, and I think we're getting into that next scene without Brad actually
And that's
having
like
to lead us into
yeah,
it.
that's
Is
it's
that
like
when the
Nikki.
teacher said someone needs to come forward if you were bullying her, and everyone just kind of start. They have Shoya stand up in the middle of the classroom, and then what's her name, Nico.
Miki.
Naoka.
Yeah, Nikki.
Oh,
Naoka. There
Miki.
you
other
go.
one.
There's
Oh,
so
my
many
okay,
different.
okay.
Yeah, there's
Naoka.
Miki
That's-
too,
She's
but
Yeah, well,
And that's-
Miki's the boy that denies everything.
yeah, like she
exactly.
was
And
like,
that's-
she starts crying. Is like, how could you do this to me? Like,
Right,
I
yeah.
did none of this.
But
Right.
that's what I was getting into. Is it more or less went from okay, we're gonna get everybody who's involved in this to where all the children were just more or less like, well, he's getting in trouble. I'm gonna lie my way through this so that I don't get in trouble.
Right.
Well, it was like the way it
So
all
they all
started.
just left it on him.
Like, you know, no one even stood up or said a word, and the teacher was just like, and this was the first time
No,
the teacher decided to actually be a teacher, and was like, stand up, show you, you know it was you.
That's only because, though, I believe that's only because the principal was present.
Yeah,
Well,
because-
I
also,
agree. I think the teacher, I kind of felt like the teacher was in on it as well because he never really pointed out everyone else because he got on to several of the students, but he only called out Shoya to stand up. He didn't actually claim for any of the other students to stand up, even though he knew that they were picking on him too. So there was no, instead of him being a real teacher and saying, okay, I've seen her pick on Shoko, I've seen him, and I've seen her. No, he just picked strictly on Shoya.
though, I will say before the teacher called him out, it looked like Shoya was about to raise his hand. So he's
Yeah,
about
like
to
he
say,
was-
"Yeah, I was doing it."
He was about to
So-
own
Right.
up to it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying too. Is like I feel like Shoya, that's not his nature. Like that's a product of his environment.
Yeah,
But,
and there was like almost like a moment of realization, like that, like they said,
Right.
who's been bullying her, and he's like, "Oh shit, it's me." So
Right. Yeah. Because
Before he
like
even had a chance to come clean, the teacher just calls him out.
right,
Yeah.
because even though
Yeah.
like through the film he's seeking some kind of redemption or whatever, I just don't think that Shoya was a bully turned good. I think Shoya was good bully byproduct of his environment.
Like he just kind of
I
went
agree.
in with it with everyone instead of because he wasn't the one who
Yeah,
started
yeah,
it.
right.
Anything,
he
it
was
was
he was
Naoka
trying to be relevant.
and
Yeah, he was trying
everyone
to be.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
But he was the
totally.
one who took it too far.
Yeah, of course. But I don't think that's his nature.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what I
no,
mean?
definitely not. Especially after looking at how his mom was and how his interaction was with his mom
Yeah,
the
and-
day
well,
that they
yeah,
called home.
Right,
Oh,
and like
all right,
others, and like other things we talked about though is where you can kind of see that he feels bad.
He does.
He feels bad for some of the things he did, like even after doing them, But he keeps this persona in the presence of other people.
Here's one big thing that I've noticed, and it's right around this scene. We've actually skipped around it a couple of times because I know it happens before the bullying on Shoyo. It's one of the, like we've been discussing, everybody was kind of staying close to him for the entertainment purposes instead of actually, joining in and, taking claim to everything and then leaving him as the scapegoat. There was one scene where she was at the monkey bars and he had nobody else around to witness what was going on. And so he starts throwing rocks at her and calling her weird. And from the way I felt about that scene is that at that point he might have been bullying her by throwing rocks at her and sand at her and stuff like that. But it's another one of those kid things where like little boys who like little girls, they don't know how to communicate.
It's the Hey Arnold effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was picking on her at that point to try to communicate with her, but he didn't know how to talk to her.
Yeah, because that was the first time where you actually see her, like, offer her hands out and do the sign for, do you want to be
You and
friends? And he didn't
Friends.
understand, so instead he just threw dirt in her face and then took off.
Yeah, he's like,
It
why are
was
you
the
doing
Hey
these
Arnold
weird
effect.
gesturing at me? I don't
Yeah,
understand this shit.
and so
All
it
right, Brad,
was,
let's push it on a little bit further.
yeah. And so from there, you see the whole class turn on him and just turn him into a scapegoat. And
Oh yeah, segregate them for sure.
oh yeah, like everybody turns against him. And from there, and
Shows a whole
his
bunch of
best
segments of
friend,
them bullying him the same way he was bullying her.
yeah, like they throw him in the pond, they knock the books out of his hand, and they do other
They
stuff. And
tripped
then,
him with the broom in the hallway. Yeah.
yeah, and then
Which
you see
which is
after,
one of.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I
I'll
was
talk
just
about
going
it
to
in a minute.
continue with the story. So if you got something to say,
Well,
pertinent
okay,
to
so
that.
which later is like you mentioned it later with the whole exes and everything, but like which later I really like appreciate about the film because like if you are anyone who's ever dealt with anxiety or extreme forms of like social anxieties, that film really conveys a way of communicating that, like how Shoya winds up feeling, or like by his peers or his community, and he develops this like really intense sense of social anxiety, and where he keeps his head down, and he doesn't like to look people in the face, those are represented by people without faces or their X's on their face or however it is in the film. And I just like really enjoyed that portion of the film, especially when it comes to the closing of the film, because like I said, if you've ever experienced that fear or anxiety of social interaction or shame, it does a really good job at conveying like how Shoya is actually taking everything that happened, and like what it did to him and
Yeah, because
into his
it's like
psyche.
it's like somebody
And
who
that's
deals with like extreme like anxiety, especially social
Right.
anxiety. Like
and
it's
I
a
and
perfect.
and I think you would understand that, Brad. Like,
Oh yeah, like I
coming,
connected with it so much.
yeah, I mean, like me too, coming from an introverted perspective, you know.
And right
Um,
when you said me too, that's where I was wanting to interject, because I think that Shoya is going through so much with the situation. I mean, that he's thinking about doing the ultimate impossible thing to do, but he's going through so much that each of us can relate to him on particular different levels, like with social anxiety or thinking about what people are saying behind your back, or maybe it's about you, and that's
Well-
one of the reasons why you'll see
well, I
later
think,
on.
yeah, but I think a lot of times he chooses to ignore it though. Instead of choosing to face what people like, instead of thinking about it, he chooses to ignore it completely.
Well, I mean, but the way where I pick up on from for me personally, like how Brad was able to connect with him with his social anxiety. My connection with him in this film was when he was sitting in the classroom, and this is just a little bit further than where we're at right now as far as getting along in the story. And I know I'm jumping, but he is sitting at his desk and he's looking around at all the other people in the classroom, and he's catching two at a time, and he sees the two girls, and the two girls are having a conversation and their lips are moving, but he's talking for them in his mind. And what he's doing is he's
Oh,
like
okay,
making
yeah.
it,
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and that's where I relate to him, and it's one of those
Okay.
things where if to me personally, it's like if you don't know what's going on in the situation, like if your friends are standing over in a corner talking, you automatically wonder
you're-
if they're talking about you.
Yeah, you're like fabricating the conversation.
And I mean
Exactly,
that was kind of
that's where I connect with them, is because I have that problem where I feel like sometimes, if negative or positive, it doesn't matter. It just feels like
It's
there's something
that
about
everything's always about you.
not precisely like that.
Center of the world.
Sure,
Everything's
kinda,
about you, bro.
Let's break down into this. Let's get into a social
I,
anxiety
I'm
problem.
just I am just messing with you. Chill out.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
We all love you. Maybe I don't know.
So
it's debatable.
anyways,
Yeah.
Anyways, so
No,
but
I
yeah, that's,
agree with you. That's the
but it's
ultimate thing is I
mostly-
agree with you.
yeah.
it's
No,
mostly
I
a
definitely
negative,
agree.
It's mostly a negative impact because you've been looked down so much with your childhood and sometimes with your family. If somebody would understand that one to go, you know what I'm saying? It's
Whoa,
when you've
throwing
been brought up in a
shade in a friendly podcast. Whoa.
Nah, it's friendly because he's watched where I come from as far as my family setting and what I had to deal with as far as never being good enough. So it feels like sometimes, most of the time, when someone else is talking around me, it kind of feels like it's negative and it's about me, and that's where I related with Shoya.
But yeah, and a lot of that is what I was about to get into as well, because the next scene, once you see him go home and see, and is, because the day that he's thrown into the pond, he goes home and he tries to sneak in, but he knows that his mom's been called. So as soon as he walks through the door, his mom was like, I just got off the phone with your school. Wait, why are you wet? And he tries to just play it off by, I jumped in the river again. She's like, oh, really? Why did your school call? And so she talks about, or she confronts him about him bullying Shoko and all that. And I feel like this is the real turning point in the story, or like where you start to see him like truly realize his mistake, because whenever he goes to see his mom go to the bank and withdraw the money and everything, the look on his face whenever she does that and then gives it.
Is that for the hearing aid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which another little interesting thing, like I pointed out at the beginning of the movie, with the thought process. If you'll realize, and you watch the segue with him bullying her with the hearing aids, the principal actually counts out. Over 8 of her hearing aids have been destroyed, and they are very expensive. So if you watch the segues, you count that he, and it's specifically him, has taken from her, thrown in the trash, done such and such with them.
Well, wouldn't it be 7 though, since what's her face threw the one out the window?
No, he was the one who threw it out the window. She took it
out
of his ear.
She threw it to him, and he threw it out the window.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So he was the one who was actually responsible for damaging all of them. And,
Yes.
you know, they talked about it being, you know, a grand total of 1.8 million yen, which for us is $18,000. And that's
Holy
a lot
God.
of money, especially for,
Yeah.
you know, a single mother who runs her own business, and that business being a hair salon. I'm not sure how that business is in Japan, but hairstylists here, especially in a little mom and pop shop like hers, considering they all live upstairs
Yeah.
from it, that's not a lot of money.
It's,
Or
no,
that's a lot of money for them, and they don't bring in a lot of money.
Right. I mean, and it's not like they don't do moderately okay for themselves, but you gotta think it's a single mother with children.
Yeah, 2 kids and then a granddaughter who lives with them as well.
Yeah.
Well, no,
yeah. So.
Also, yeah, she's got 2 kids that live with her and everything, but the has a husband who is also in the military. There's got to be something, but it's all on Shoyo's mother.
No, the sister's husband is not in the military, at least, especially from the like manga's perspective, because the sister is constantly with different men.
But she did say, "This is my step." He just got back. Just leads me to assume he's got to be either in the military or missionary type thing.
I'm not sure because she sleeps with a lot of men, and you know, but
wait, she has
married though.
She has a granddaughter.
Is colored.
Yeah, that is her
that is colored
granddaughter.
Just like that. That's colored just like her son-in-law. This is me just again.
Because the granddaughter is Maria, right?
Yeah.
Maria, yeah.
Which I will say that is probably like the most adorable child outside of the one from Promised Neverland. I'm sorry.
and then Maria, and then Maria's dad is Pedro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we're on track.
The sister's also never shown.
Never shown.
No.
Like even in the manga, she is never pictured. Like the most you see is like her legs.
Really?
Yeah. Like you never see what her sister looks like.
Interesting.
Which I think was actually a really cool thing to add into the film as well.
It was very interesting.
But
which we might need to speed up a little bit because we're at like an hour and a half and we haven't even gotten like halfway through the movie.
We're not even a quarter of the way through the film, so
let's speed it up a little bit.
Oh yeah, I'm totally in.
Just too much to talk about. Okay.
Oh, so much.
there's a ton to talk about. I mean, there's another one we've already ran past real quick that I was going to point out also is you'll notice several times in the movie she's holding on to something and somebody else touches a handrail or a bench that she's sitting on or something like that, and you can see how she reacts to it, which is in every single scene different.
Right.
That one kind of went over my head, but
Yeah,
I kind of get it.
same.
Considering
So,
Yeah, same.
all right, the very beginning when she's at the monkey bars and he's throwing pebbles at her, she's holding on to the monkey bars when say her name with the black hair.
Naoka.
Ioka. I'm gonna have to just get a list up and just keep reading these off. Nyoka's actually leaving her, and she's tapping on the monkey bars as she's leaving, and it actually zooms in, or not zooms in, but it caps over to Soko's hand on the monkey bars. It focuses on that several times in the film.
Well, as you know, with her being deaf, every one of her other senses are heightened. So therefore, if somebody else were to come up and touch those monkey bars, she's going to be more sensitive to it because it's
Triple the vibration, yeah.
Yeah.
Your
So
body's
that-
natural ability to compensate.
Yeah. So that's probably
and that's
pertaining
what I'm
to
saying,
that.
is that we all understand that, but that's what was interesting is I can't find the hidden message there because they emphasize on that several times.
Well, I don't even think it's, like a hidden message. It's just a subtle pickup from,
It's like, hey,
just deaf
yeah,
people.
like,
It's a really
right,
nice
yeah.
hidden, nod to people who are deaf who could potentially pick up on something like that, or people who know about deaf people.
or nod to people's just general awareness of the fact that your other senses are more heightened.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, all right.
Back on track.
Well, yeah, hold on. Before we can, we'll continue. Like, we need to find an anchor point, right? Let's talk. Let's let Brad run through the movie, and we'll find an anchor point where we can talk, so we can get through this thing.
So I think probably as an anchor point to try to get to is
just
probably
made 3 episodes of this.
it very well could be, but
Let's not
anchor
do that.
point we could probably sit down and have a discussion around the fireworks festival. I feel like that would be a
let's
good
go.
point to discuss because
let's
that is
go
a
then.
very
Yeah.
pivotal moment. But
Go ahead,
Definitely.
Eric.
Good.
you see the
Do it in
scene
Japanese.
with hi. But anyway, so you see the scene with Shogo's mom giving the money to Shoko's mom. You see him start to finally feel bad or get the true, he finally realizes what he's done wrong. And as he transitions into high school, his former best friend tells everyone what he did to isolate him from everyone. And once you get into the high school scenes, that's whenever you notice all the X's come up over everyone's faces. And onto that point, a note I wanted to make with it was this is one of the few films where you see something like that, of them isolating a character, but all of the other characters weren't no faces under the X's like you would get in any other film. Every person had a very detailed face. So that was just kind of a little really nifty side note that I noted with that.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you said that because I saw the film when we saw it in theaters, and I haven't really seen it since. So I knew that the X's existed. It was very vague on the no face thing, so I'm glad you cleared that up for me.
Yeah, that
because I didn't remember that.
Yeah, that was very standout point for me. And getting to
Honestly,
the next point too is where I'm gonna really start to, or I get into that kind of a little bit more in detail. But following that, let's see here, where am I at? Okay, so after you get
real
with that
quick,
scene,
does
okay?
someone, real quick, Brad, does someone have the Twitch stream up, on
I
their
do.
phone or computer or something?
I
I'm hearing
have
it
it.
right
I do.
there.
Mine's turned completely off on sound.
Yeah, my
I'm
sound's
saying.
completely off as well, so I don't know where the echo would be coming from.
Weird. Okay.
That
Either
is
way,
odd.
continue.
But, so, once you see the scene of him in high school and him isolating himself after that first day, because this cuts back directly to the point of right after the bridge scene. So, he goes to school that day. After he leaves, he goes to the sign language class. and hoping to meet up with Shoko. And he's not, and this is just my opinion, he's not going to apologize. He's not going for any of that. He's just going to make sure that she's okay and everything is fine.
I think he was just going to say goodbye.
Well, he never even, like, he never says goodbye. He never apologizes. He just goes to see her and have a conversation with her.
Yeah.
And, and then he, he gives her the notebook that for some reason he had held on to it all this time. And then he signs to her that he wants to be friends. And it was afterwards, as soon as he signs it, that he realizes that that's what she had signed to him all the way back then. And he instantly gets embarrassed. And I thought that was a really nice little nod to it.
Yeah.
And he comes home after this, after they leave, and his mom confronts him about wanting to kill himself. And it was at this point where I was definitely like, best mom, hands down. Because she threatens to burn the 1.8 million yen, which is a lot of money, unless he swears that he's not going to kill himself. And so she makes him say it, and after she gets relieved, she's just standing there all happy and still holds the lighter too close to the money and ends up burning it anyway.
Yeah,
which
so
was hilarious. I got a bigger kick out of it. It added some humor into, I believe, was a necessary point at that particular time. Honestly,
comic relief.
Yeah, because here in a little bit you'll start to see that you kind of need it. Because after this, it really starts to throw haymakers into the fields. But then the next day, he goes to school, and you start to notice a particular character start to stand out more. Dude with the afro. Looks like me whenever I was in elementary school and going through middle school. Norwood can probably relate to this from me in school with a giant afro.
Yeah, I remember that.
Especially later in high school where I started to get round. But anyway.
Damn.
Hey, I don't care to knock on myself. I'm working on fixing that. But anyway. So you start to see him pop up more and be a little bit, more prominent whenever he goes to eat lunch. He sees him sitting by himself. And the next day, whenever they get to school, Shoya's walking in, and dude's trying to steal his bike. And he's screaming for help and everything, and Shoya's just like, you can have mine. You can borrow mine. Knowing full well dude's
he's got
stealing
this X
it.
over his face.
Yeah, dude still has the X on his face. Just like everyone else, because Shoya still doesn't look at himself as having a friend. But, so gives the dude his bike, walks home from school, and it's a Tuesday, and it makes a point of every Tuesday, Shoko goes to the bridge to feed the koi, which the people who don't know what koi is, it's fish. But anyway, so he's asking for a sign to not go see her, and instantly a ad for half price off fresh bread pops up, and he's like, well, shit, now I gotta go see her.
Yeah, which is a very convenient thing, which I didn't like about the movie.
Now, hold on a second. I feel like the message was a little different right there, because it said he was looking forward to, because she had I don't remember exactly how that conversation had come about, with Tuesday being where she was going to meet him at the bridge and start throwing bread to the koi.
Well, no, she had just told him that they go, and at this point, he doesn't feel like he deserves to talk to anyone. So even though, they had talked about doing it, he's like, I don't think I deserve to, so give me a sign to where I don't have to go. Give me an excuse not to. And then he gets that to completely counter everything.
Well, when he gets that, the thing that caught my attention was when the bike was stolen from him. He was like, well, I guess that's my sign that I wasn't meant to go. And then he's walking down the street, and the coupon starts floating in front of his face, and then he gets the bread, and he's like, oh, this is the sign that I need to go.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's looking for a sign not to. He's could this day get any worse? Like, why should I do this? And then boom, coupon. That's like, well, shit, now I have to because
Yeah.
cheap bread.
Either way, up to interpretation.
Yeah.
What happens past
But
that?
anyway, so he goes, buys bread. Shoko isn't there. So he's like, well, shit, what do I do now? And as he starts to leave, dude who was getting his bike jacked earlier, who sits behind him in class, was like, hey man, found your bike. And so they start talking.
Satoshi.
Yeah, or Tomo. I think I have him written down in my notes as Tomo-chan.
Tomochiro.
Yeah, which I shortened to Tomo-chan just for giggles. And so,
maybe I got Tomo and Shitoshi mixed up then.
see, that's what I thought you were talking about. Like, I could have sworn you
Yeah,
were talking about Tomo, but I was like,
Satoshi's the
apologize
guy
then.
with the red hair. I was confused, but I was like,
Yeah, my
he
bad.
knows more about this movie than I do, so I wasn't gonna call it out.
Yeah, no, I definitely got them mixed up.
I'll put a thing on the video.
Toshi and Tomohiro?
no, Tomohiro is best friend, and Toshi is basically Miki's
redhead.
boyfriend, I think. I think that's how they come across.
I don't know.
But
He comes across like that to me because every time she's around, he's like attached to her hip.
yeah. But anyway, further back to the point.
Yeah.
Back to the story.
Tomochiro's the guy that smokes fries with ketchup.
Yep. And I made a note about that too because that humored me very, very much.
Capiche?
But yeah, so Tomo brings back Shoya's bike and they start talking, and whenever, like, as they continue to talk and whatnot, whenever Shoya offers him bread and everything, you see the X fall off. And to me, it was like the first like big pivotal moment of the film, or at least as growth for him, because you see him finally start to open up. And once that happens, they exchange names and everything, and Shoya's like, I'm sorry, who are you again? He's like, bro, come on. We sit in class together. Like, I sit right behind you. And he's like, I'm sorry. But furthering on from that, you get a little best friend montage of them going to the movies together, eating lunch together. And during that montage, you get a scene of them going out to a restaurant. You see, him smoking a fry, basically mimicking The Godfather. And
Right.
following this particular meeting, Shoya goes to visit Shoko again. And it was at this point that Shoya runs into a little boy at the door. And the little boy's like, no, sorry, Shoko isn't here again. And Tomo just comes out of nowhere and is like, hey, who do you think you are? Picks him up by his collar. And they start to, like, not really have a scuffle, but it causes a scene enough for Shoko and Shoya to run off on their own. And it was at this point that you kind of really get to, like, see the character of the boy, and I'm not going to lie, one of my favorite characters in the film.
Who's your favorite character in this film?
I'm trying not to spoil the later little bit, but the little boy who claims
don't
to
worry
be.
about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, with the
I got
camera.
you.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
With
I got you.
Honestly, with the fact that all of these are all Japanese names that they're using, I'm pretty sure you can use the Japanese name and it's not going to give away.
What?
But we don't know his name at this point.
I don't think we need to go like full like script by script like how the movie goes. I think because we're talking about spoilers right now, I think we can just go ahead and say details.
Yeah, high points.
Because I think if anybody's looking at the spoilers right now, they're either going to be watching it knowing that it's going to be spoiled and they're not going to care if it's vibe by vibe, or they've already seen the movie and they just want to see an opinion on it.
Yeah, but I
Kind of
guess,
thing.
like, for me, we don't, like, watching the film, we don't have this information at this point.
Well, we could just state that right now you don't know this, but it's actually this.
Yeah,
And
I guess.
and then like we talk about Instagram
So at this
revelation.
point, this is where Yuzuru comes into.
Yes, and
Yes.
Yuzuru is one of my favorite characters in the film.
There you go.
Right.
But anyway, you see the bridge scene of Shoya telling Shoko that, hey, you know, I didn't know if we could be friends or even if we deserved to be friends, but I'd like to. And Shoko was like, I was thinking the same thing. And then, while, like, Shoko tries to give Shoya back her notebook, and Shoya tries to take it from her. It falls in the river. They both jump in, and when they do, Yuzuru takes a picture of Shoya jumping off the bridge and posts it online to get him in trouble. Because in Japan, or really anywhere, it's illegal to jump off bridges into water.
And no
And-
bridge
Interesting.
jumping in my country.
Nope, absolutely not. And so, because of that, Shoya gets suspended, and during his suspension, his sister asks him to go pick up Maria in the park, and whenever he goes to pick Maria up from the park, that's whenever he sees Yuzuru sleeping in the playground because she has run away from home. And so Yuzuru ends up passing out during that whole scene, so Shoya takes her home, feeds her, and then she runs off during the night, and he has to go try to catch up to her. So once he does, like, Yuzuru calls him out on all this bullshit, like saying, I know who you are, I know what you've done, and you don't deserve to, like, I don't know what you're doing, but you don't deserve any of this. And he's like, you know what? You're right. I was a piece of shit. And I definitely don't deserve this. I just don't want to see Shoko get hurt anymore. And so Yuzuru, you know, finally starts to open up to him at that point. And she's like, you know what? By the way, I'm not Shoko's boyfriend. I'm...
brother.
she signs that she's her little sister. And he's like, wait, what? And then Mom comes out, slaps him, and, like, it wasn't, like, really humorous, but it kind of cut everything, I guess. It was a good way to kind of add back into it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And then they cut back to they meet up again, and Shoko tells Shoya, or Shoya tells Shoko, hey, I got a new phone. We should exchange numbers. And he asks if there's anyone that she wants to meet up with. And she's like, yeah, I want to meet up with Sahara from elementary school. And Sahara was somebody who, back while they were in elementary school, she was the one who actually wanted to be Shoko's friend. And she ended up having to transfer out. So Shoko was like, she was nice to me, so I'd like to meet up with her again at some point. And so he's like, okay. So Shoya finds all the information he needs to go find her, and they travel to, I'm not exactly sure where they travel, but they travel quite a bit away to go and try to find Sahara. And when they do, they start hanging out. Shoya leaves, and he starts to hunt for other people who were back in elementary school just to try to reconcile with, because he thinks that Shoko would really enjoy that. And this is where we meet back up with Naoka, and we realize that she's still the same piece of shit that she was back then as well.
Yeah, that's true.
And then I hope y'all got better notes than I do, because this is kind of where my note taking stopped. Like, I remember how everything goes from here, but
We
I hope
could
you
Yeah,
just
well,
kind of
I remember they all meet up, right? They all go to the amusement park.
yeah.
yeah.
Would you
So
like to? Would you like to call it? We can do an episode 2.
no, because we're over halfway
At the
done
end.
at this point. Yeah, because we don't have to
Maybe we
go
could
as in depth.
maybe yeah. Let's not go verbatim and just kind of
Yeah,
just finish it off. Just be
because
like,
I know the gist from here. So they all
yeah,
go to the amusement park. They're all having a great time, and it's at this point everybody who's a part of the group, Shoko, Shoya, Yuzuru went with them, Miki, Miki's boyfriend, Toshi,
Toshi.
and Naoka, they all go. And while they're all there and you see them all laughing and having a good time, all their exes fall off. And then Naoka was like, oh, hey, let's go on the Ferris wheel. And she just wants to go strictly with Shoko. And while they're on there, she
You're the bitch.
Yeah, she was
All
a
in the
straight
meanwhile,
bitch.
she's acting completely fake with
Yeah,
everybody
like
around. But
she was
Yeah,
being so
yeah.
fake, and that's why X falls off. And so while they're on the Ferris
But-
wheel, what?
go ahead. No, well, I was just gonna state. Did you notice Naoko or not Naoka actually got the X back after the scene over at the concession stands?
Yeah, because she was basically like, "Hey, we should go get some takoyaki," and
Which is with his other friend that threw him in the pond.
yeah, like
Bingo.
X best
Yeah.
friend who was biggest jerk to him was there, and it just instantly shut her off because she's like, or he's like, she's trying to bring all
It
these
shut
other
him
people
down.
in. Yeah, like it
Because
instantly killed his
made it so
mood.
much worse.
Yeah, she was there to mock him.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
because she hasn't had any growth at all. Like she's still the biggest piece of shit out of everybody.
Then they get on the Ferris wheel.
And while they're on the Ferris wheel, Yuzuru gives Shoko her camera because Yuzuru doesn't trust Naoka either. And while they're on the Ferris wheel, Naoka's like, look, I'm not going to use your notebook. We have absolutely nothing to...
In common.
Like, yeah, like,
She basically
You
said, "I'll
are-
talk nice and slow so you can understand me."
yeah. And she
Mhm.
was like, it's your fault that everyone bullied you. And, you know, it's just
It's your fault. Everyone
really...
hates Shoya.
Yeah, just really being a bitch. And the whole time, Shoko's trying to apologize. She's like, no, stop apologizing. Like, you need to own up for what you did. And then slaps the shit out of her.
yeah.
Well, and then I didn't really understand this part so much, so maybe I'll be able to help me out with this. But I'll just point it out real quick. She said, "From one hater to another, because I hate you and you hate me." I understand what Shoko says here. I know why she says it, but I don't understand why the other one gets angry. And she says, "No, you got it wrong. I don't hate you. I hate me." And that's why Nyoka hits her. She
Well,
gets
yeah,
upset
like-
about that.
What don't you understand though is
What I don't understand is why she's getting mad. It feels like she wants Shoka to hate her. She wants Shoka to hate her in return for her hating Shoka. Or Shoko. But it's
Right.
just it just drives her insane that she's hating herself,
Well,
and she's looking for more
well,
sympathy.
it's because it's passive aggressive. You know, kill your enemies with kindness, right? Or killing with kindness. You know, it's one of those things. It's like I won't try to go into it too far, but it's like if you're passing on hate to someone, right? You're passing on something bad to someone. If they refuse to accept it, right? To accept that hate, they're left with it.
Right.
Right? You can't receive something. You can't receive something someone's trying to give you if you don't receive it. So because she's not reacting in a way that she wants her to, she's just getting the reflection off of that. So that's just coming back at her. So she wants her to be upset. She wants her to be angry. She wants her to retaliate. So that way, the hate that she's giving to her isn't coming back at her.
Either way, she's
So-
a colossal bitch.
Yeah,
Well,
it
yeah,
was,
of course.
I think a lot of it was because she didn't get the answer that she was looking for. Like, because
Right.
in essence, Shoko saying that wasn't, for one, that didn't repent to anything that she had done. Like, she wanted Shoko to take ownership
Again,
of
I'm glad we had this
everything.
discussion because, like I said, it's not so much that I didn't know everything that was going on in that scene. It's just there was something there I just didn't quite understand, and you guys are helping me out with that.
And
Alright.
which I will say, like, this is the first part in the movie where I like got choked up bad because as somebody who has been in that place
Just came from
in
outside.
my life, and as somebody who has hated myself to the point of getting to the point to where Shoya was, and to the point to where Shoko was later on, like, I understand. And so that, like, I was sitting in the theaters, like, tears already running down my face at this point. I'm not even afraid to admit it.
So then, in the next scene,
But yeah, so leading on from there, they all go to the bridge and they all have like a huge falling out because like everybody
well,
was trying to act all buddy buddy, and
key point on that one is they had a falling out in the classroom with Miki, where she had actually like said it's your fault, it's all you, and she put all the blame back on Shoyo for what happened in the past instead of him trying to make amends on everything. And then they all meet at the bridge.
yeah, and while they're at the bridge, they like Shoya basically calls everyone out on their shit and was just like, hey, you all did this too. It was basically a rehash of what happened back in elementary school. Like, you guys are not as innocent as you're trying to make it seem. And
Yeah.
like, he goes off on everybody, even Tomo, who was innocent in all of this.
Mhm.
Just like, you don't know anything about me. You don't.
Tomo and Toshi.
Yeah, Toshi was just kind of an innocent bystander in all of this,
Yeah.
period. But it's just
All he
because
said was,
of his
"Bro, that's a little
relationship.
harsh." And he was like, "You're not even a part of this group."
Yeah, so
You are
like,
an
you have no
outsider.
right to say any of this.
Now, can I make one little observation?
Yes.
Wasn't it interesting? I understand that he's in a mood and he's having a moment and he's lashing out at everybody around him, but wasn't it interesting that he was so toned his arms and kept his face so that uh, Shoko couldn't understand what the conversation was really about, except to just see everybody else's reactions?
You kind of cut in and out on that one.
Yeah, can you repeat that?
Yeah. It was how Shoya was looking into his arms and looking down at his legs and keeping his head in his lap when he was lashing out at everybody, and he spoke in such a low tone that it kind of felt like he didn't want Shoka to hear him lashing out at everybody. And since she can't hear well and she can read lips, he kind of hid himself while he was lashing out at everybody else.
Yeah, because again, I felt like this was like he felt like he was starting to get isolated again, and so he was just kind of, I guess, trying to keep from not isolating himself from her.
Mm-hmm.
And which at this point you see the X's go back up on everyone except for Yuzuru and Shoko. And it was during this whole falling out period where Shoya just starts like just, I'm not wanting to say like being overly clingy with Shoko and Yuzuru, but that's definitely what it seems like. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
we should hang out here, and like every day it was something, and the one day where they all agreed to it, it was the mom's birthday. And so at the birthday, it was at this point where Yuzuru made a really funny joke of, like, because Shoya was like, is it okay for me to be here? And Yuzuru was like, yeah, it'll be fine. She probably won't kill you.
Your mission, should you accept. That really made me giggle right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was a really good, like, humor cutting part, and whenever the mom comes in, like, why the hell is he here? And user's like, it's fine, just calm down. He helped make this cake for you. At this point, you start to see the mom just kind of start open up to everything. And it was during this time where they make plans to go to the firework festival together. And this was the firework festival is definitely the biggest like turning point of the film in general.
This is the anchor we were looking for earlier, correct?
Yes, because I feel like this part everybody's going to have a lot of opinions on or a lot to talk about.
There's going to be a ton to talk about. But one of the biggest things that I want everyone to remember on our way to the fireworks thing was the moment when Shoko was trying to tell Shoya that she loved him.
Oh yeah, so they had a scene on the bridge after Shoya had went and gotten Shoko a cat purse.
Gift.
And Shoko wanted to return the favor, so she went and got these little kitten planters for a garden. And it was during this where Shoko was trying to like express to Shoya that she had feelings for him, and because she was like, no, I don't want to sign it, I want to say it. And so it was just all lost in translation because
she attempted about 3 times to try to tell him with her own voice that she loves him.
And he was just
he just could not understand.
Moon? Like, you love Moon?
No, I think he was misconstruing love and moon. What about the moon? She was trying to say I love you, but with her disability, it made her voice sound a little weird, and it made it sound like she was saying something about the moon.
And so, at the fireworks scenes, you see like Shoko, Shoya, Yuzuru, and Shoko's mom, like all together having a good time before the fireworks start. And as they're all sitting down, getting ready to watch the fireworks, Shoko gets up and is like, hey, I need to go home and do some homework. And Shoya was like, do you want me to walk you home? And she's like, no, it's fine, I got it, I just got to do homework. And he's like, homework, that's weird, because it's middle of summer.
Well, she didn't say homework, she says study.
Yeah, she says study.
Well, either way, I can't remember.
It's all good, it's all good.
Still weird to do in the summer.
Yeah, it is, because in Japan, like the month of August, whenever they have like all the firework festival, like that's their one big like month-long break for that semester. And so he's like, that's weird, like why would you be studying, especially like right before we go back to school? But so she leaves, and whenever Yuzuru and the mom gets back, Yuzuru's like, oh, I forgot my camera at home. So you should totally go get it, trying to be sneaky, because she just wanted them to spend more time together. And so Shoya gets back to their apartment, and whenever he walks in the door, he sees Shoko standing on the balcony getting ready to throw herself off and kill herself. And so he yells out for her, and of course you see whenever he walks in the house, that her hearing aid is sitting on the counter, so she can't hear a word he's saying, so he just takes off across the house. And
he also takes one shoe off awkwardly for some reason.
Yeah, I don't understand
I think
why.
it was one of those things where he was in the midst of actually, because over in Japan, one of their customs is you don't wear shoes in the house. That's what they have.
I just saw him do that, and I thought that was really awkward. Where he's just like, I need to run to her, but first let me take this one shoe off.
Yeah, I got to be real polite. I got to keep with customs.
And this brings up another interesting topic that you guys had brought up earlier that I didn't think of until you brought it up. The artwork and the animation. Like, this was one of those scenes where it was just so beautiful and so smooth in the way they had drawn this one out. even with the curtain drawn back, and you see her standing there, and then when the curtain falls and fades away, she's gone.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
scene was pretty cool.
They just did that part really well. And so Shoya takes off across the house and tries to stop her, and he grabs a hold of her, and like as soon as he grabs a hold of her while she's dangling, you just see that look that everybody who has ever, attempted suicide and failed has talked about, or somewhere along the way you're sure that they've experienced of, oh shit, I don't want to die.
Right, yeah, you made the mistake after it's too late kind of situation. Yeah.
And so they have a whole little thing while he's holding on to her, like, just please give me the strength to pull her up. And he does. He pulls her up, and then he falls.
Yeah, and I counted, it was like 7 stories.
Yeah, it was 7 stories, dude. Like,
He also made a bargain with, with retrospect to religion, he made a bargain with God. He said, if you let me have all of this, and he said, I'll start looking people in the eyes. I'll start listening to them when they talk to me. And that was one of his bargaining chips. He has to do those if he was to get her up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I also say, this is like a spoiler for like a little bit further down the line, for a guy that fell like 7 stories, he didn't really get hurt that bad.
No,
like,
he really didn't.
He fell into water, though.
Yeah, and that water was basically concrete, but...
Well, yeah, I mean...
7 stories up.
Yeah, I mean, as long as there's no surface tension broken.
Yeah.
It's like the Golden State Bridge hammer situation. But,
yeah. But then again, one thing I will say, though, is, he, for somebody who fell in water and hit it hard, like, dude did have some brain damage whenever they get to the hospital. Because he's basically in a coma for I don't even think it really says how long he was in a coma, but it was for a while.
Yeah.
And so I guess at this point,
I think it was 2 weeks from what I looked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you said, it was like midsummer, and they were about to start the school semester again, and by the time he comes to from the coma, he's already going back to school.
Yeah, they were having like their big like school summer festival type thing, or their cultural festival, I guess is technically what it was, or at least that's what it looked like. But while he's in the hospital, Naoka basically monopolizes his room, won't let Shoko in there to see him. Is like, nope, this is your fault, so you're not allowed in. And
still at this point won't leave his side.
Yeah, like will not. And Shoko this whole time is wanting to apologize. And she ends up getting into a fight with Naoka outside of the building. And
she's the mother stepping in.
Yep. Mother steps in, slaps Naoka, and they look like they're about to like start brawling, and then Shoya's mother Shoya's mother comes around and is like, hey, you guys need to stop this. Like, this is nobody's fault. And this is truly where you see the character development for Shoko's mother, because she gets down on her hands and knees, and so does Yuzuru. It's like, we are so sorry. Like, this is our daughter's fault, please forgive us. And Shoko's mom's like, you have nothing to apologize for, because...
Which again was strange. It was very strange to me, this scene, because Shoyo's mother shows up at the hospital, and she's like, I'm going to see him, and Yuzuru, well, I'll go, I'm just wondering if he's doing okay and all that fun stuff, and then Shoko, mother shows up, and she's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, what are you sorry for? What are you sorry for? And they were both like, it's our sister, it's Shoka's fault. And it kind of feels like, okay, why haven't we had this conversation before? Because if he's been in this coma, wouldn't you want to know how he ended up in the coma in the first place?
I think she knew. I think it was just like she was just saying,
It's just they
you
might not
know,
have crossed paths at that point until
yeah.
there, I reckon.
I mean, big high point of the story. It's just, little things.
Yeah.
But yeah, then they apologize and they go outside, find Oko, start fighting, go back inside.
So after the apologies happen, you cut to Shoko just like having a really bad dream about everything, wakes up and takes off to the bridge where they feed the fish. Because she's like, I gotta see him. Like, I don't. Just because she feels bad and she thinks that she's ultimately going to lose him. And she gets to the bridge and collapses, just crying. And then Shoko magically, due to, picture perfect anime logic, or Shoya, due to anime logic, wakes up from his coma after being out for however long it was and just takes off running because hospitals don't look after their patients whatsoever.
This was my least favorite scene in the entire movie.
Yes
See,
and no.
it.
I agree.
I
It was
loved it,
like
but it was off-putting at the same time just because the whole film was realistic and relatable until you got
but
to this point.
it was like Disney-esque of like, hey, we need to like romance this and like get everything back to normal. So we're both gonna show up at the same time outside the hospital on a bridge.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is true.
but did you hear what he said at the bridge when he finally
Your line, April.
got there? What did he say? What did you say, Gammy?
Oh,
I said your line, April. I was making a joke.
because it's true. But anyway,
But
continue
he
with
said,
what was
well,
said
as
at
soon
the
as he got to
bridge.
the bridge, he said that. Yeah, he said that we were talking just now, and just shortly before he wakes up in Shoko's dream, Shoko was having a conversation, but it doesn't say with who. It's just you can tell there's a conversation going on. And then he gets there, and he's like, "We were just talking just now," which again, fairy tale type scene. Not the
Yeah,
anime, but it was a fairy tale moment.
Yeah, it was. It
I
was just
agree.
kind of like that picture perfect, like coming together moment. But it's still like it's definitely not what it sounds like though, because it's still not a love confession of this. It was
It's
just
vague.
yeah. But it was the first time that Shoya like actually apologizes for what he did. Like the whole rest of the
That was
film,
one of the things he was saying while he was going into his coma while he was underwater. Was I just realized how much of a jerk. I never asked what she thought about me,
yeah, like
and I
he
never got a chance to apologize.
yeah, and so he like told her like I've been selfish this whole time, like I was just in this for me and I never once apologized to you for what I did. And so he's like, I promise I'm going to do better. I'm going to try to do more. But he's like, I'm scared. And she's like, you don't have to do it alone. She's like, I'm here. Yuzuru's here. Everyone's here for you. And then we get to, at least, like, in my opinion, probably my favorite scene from the film of the cultural festival.
Was it the
Because,
hallway scene or the actual crowd scene? Because
like,
between
the
the two
crowd
of them,
scene.
I can't
Because
pick which one's
Yeah, I
mine.
like the crowd scene.
yeah, the hallway scene was amazing, but for I guess its own reasons.
It does.
Because
Yeah, it has
it's
its own reasons.
like because he
Because you
walks
can
in,
feel a character shift in like all of them.
yeah, like as at this
Yeah.
point, like you like actually get like growth from everyone because as he
Including
walks in,
the number one hated antagonist in the entire movie.
yep, the biggest bitch in the film. But so Shoya walks in and he's like, okay, I'm gonna do this. No, wait, I can't do this. I just can't. And runs off into the bathroom. And whenever he did this, he bypassed Tomo and everyone, and Tomo just takes off after him like, wait, come on. and follows him into the bathroom, and he's like, dude, like, I don't care what happened, like, we're bros, we're best friends, we're gonna fight, it's fine. And Brain has died.
And then basically it ends up being everyone kind of makes up and is friends again. Yay!
Yeah, everyone.
It's left pretty open ended though. If you're looking for the end romance, it's open ended.
Yeah, the like romance part kind of like probably, but who knows? Not actually gonna say it.
Yeah. I really like how they kind of flirted with it, I guess, but they didn't make it about that. Like that was an afterthought in this whole film.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally. Which is like an opposite of Your Name kind of situation.
It is, but I mean that's one thing I'll say about Your Name is almost like a perfect love story, I guess. Whereas this one, it's not. Like this film it's a path of
it's kind of like a path of redemption.
It is.
You know,
and I mean that's what it is. It's a perfect redemption story, I guess, because redemption and growth happens.
Yeah.
But and you know, getting to my favorite scene, you know, once everyone makes up and Naoka actually signs to Shoko and X falls off and they're all just like, okay, we can all do this together and just kind of help walk him, you know, through it.
Right.
And so they all start walking through the festival, and slowly you just see X's, you know, start to fall off of certain people. And then they get to the big open area in the courtyard, and Shoya just looks up. And as soon as he does,
boom.
It's like a giant wave of all the X's just fall off. And then you get that beautiful piano outro music just start to play that just still makes me tear up every time.
Thank you, Kazuki.
Yes, just thank you, because the sound design was absolutely phenomenal, and I love every bit of it.
It's like floating on a wave the entire movie.
It really is. It just, like, the music just helps it so much.
Yeah. It's what the kids would call dope.
Dope.
Or as the true intellectuals of the internet say, yeet.
Yeah. A silent voice, is it better than Fortnite?
Yeet.
There we go. I give it...
the slogan of this episode is...
Yeet.
Yeah, I'll give it 3 yeets out of 5.
I give it 4 yeets out of 5.
I give it a... We are owed a sponsorship by Yeet.
I give it, if you like anime, watch it. You know, is it action packed? If that's what you're... Nah, like if it's action you're looking for, you're not gonna find in this film. So if you're looking for an emotional drama, you want to sit back and watch with your girlfriend, this is it.
If you want to cry like a little bitch, yes.
If you don't like anime, this is still a good movie to watch.
Oh, my part-timer who has never watched anime in his life, I showed this film to him, and he's like, dude, this is amazing.
I agree. I think anime has such a stigma about it that, you know, like people think they're cartoons.
Yeah, they do, and it's not.
It's not. Yeah, it's storytelling and a way of conveying a message and conveying feelings and conveying a story that you can't do in live action, and that's why live actions are always usually terrible. Adaptions are always usually awful, for the exception of a couple I'm not going to mention because it probably upset Brad. But
no, please, do go into it.
He's waiting for this fight, so please don't.
What live action are you talking about?
Yes, please.
I'm not going to upset Brad and say that I like. I'm not going to lie to Brad and say that I didn't like the Death Note adaptation, but
Man,
And you
man,
guys can
no,
you can be all
no,
upset.
you
Fucking
can't say
triggered.
that and then keep going.
But
I'm
you,
so
All right,
triggered.
that's
Guys,
that's an
we've
episode
had
for a later
enough time.
podcast.
It is.
yeah.
It's an episode for another day.
All
Let's
right.
just. I want to
But,
be here for
so-
that episode when Gammy and Brad decide to go head to head in the animes that they don't like that each other likes.
Well, it's not.
That's
It's
not
not
gonna be a
about the
lot.
fact
It's
that we
just
don't
this
like
one.
an anime. We both like
Okay.
the anime. It's just the
No,
fact
yeah,
that
yeah. You
we have
guys
a difference
don't like
on the
certain ones that each other likes.
Either way.
no. That we don't like the adaptation.
Yeah.
Like he
But-
doesn't like the anime to live action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
But
yeah,
either
yeah.
way, we've been going for like well over 2 hours. We should
Yeah.
probably go
All right.
ahead and get ready to
So,
call
Let's
it.
close it out.
closing. Yeah. So closing thoughts on the film from everyone. Just closing.
It's
opinions.
awesome. Watch it.
If you're bored and you got a free weekend, go for it. It wasn't really a movie that I thought was amazing, but I thought it was okay.
I can understand. I can understand how you feel about that. Actually, I guess
it did too
it
many.
depends.
It did too many like repeated things over and over again for me, like where it was just like in sequence.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool
well-
at first, but it overdid it.
Have you watched July and April?
I
No,
have
he has not.
so-
But I'm trying to push
Okay.
that down at the throat.
The thing
Yeah,
is
but we're pushing
you're
the ending right now.
here's the thing is you're gonna find that in your line April a lot. It's gonna be a lot of repeated moments, right? That's gonna drown you. I think almost that it's a purpose. Like some people, like I'm just gonna like I'm trying not to be too long here, but it's like how I feel about Dragon Ball Z. Is like some people are like, hey, watch Kai because Kai cuts out the filler. But to be honest
Yeah.
with you, I really like the filler. The reason why I like the filler is because, well, when I was a kid and I was watching the Frieza saga or the Namekian saga or whatever that you it took so long for Goku to turn Super Saiyan that when it actually happened, that moment was way more intense than it would have been over the span of an episode.
Yeah.
And the reason that
I
that-
agree to some extent.
that tension built so much more emotion in me as a viewer and as someone who just enjoys it. It was so intense that will always be my favorite saga. For that reason alone.
Gammy, closing statement.
The movie is awesome. I agree with Dakota in saying that. Yes, it's not any an amazing movie like must watch. It's a great film. It's well animated. The music direction is fantastic. The story is good. If you're not into slow dramas, don't watch it. But I thoroughly enjoyed the film. I thought it was wonderful.
Eric.
Brad. Jinx. Oh wait, no, we're gonna say the same thing. Okay. I said it at the same time he said my name, so I don't know if the sync came up correctly, but I said it
No,
at the same
it
time he said
did
my name,
not.
so-
All right. Either way, closing statements.
Yep. Eric, go.
My closing statement on it is, first of all, coming from where I'm from, I mean, as far as my stance is on certain animes and stuff like that, I mean, you can ask anybody in this group. I'm not as caught up as Brad or Gammy or Coda. I'm probably farther
It's
behind
Norwood,
than
damn
everybody
it.
else on here.
Yeah,
Norwood,
we've been getting the
whatever.
names wrong the entire podcast, but whatever. Do
Everybody's,
with closing
everybody's
statements.
been everybody. So what I'm trying to say is I'm definitely not even into chick flicks. But this movie was really captivating. It's definitely not up there with Your Name. There's certain other movies that I would like to watch more than this movie, but there's a particular reason why I purchased it, and it's because it is a decent movie. It's at least one of the top 10 movies I would purchase on an anime list. So if there's anyone we can recommend, this would be one of them to start off. Even if you haven't watched anime before, this would be a good starter movie.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be fair.
And then
All
closing
right.
statements for me. I absolutely adore the movie. I think it's the reason it's tied for my favorite film of all time is because I relate to it a lot more than I should with a lot of the feelings that the film portrays and with previous attempted actions on my part. But is it a film that I would recommend to almost everyone? Yes. But if you're somebody who, like me, deals with depression on a daily basis and, have attempted suicide or have
Yeah.
contemplated it at some point, watch at your own risk because it could potentially, trigger stuff. It didn't with me, but I'm well over that point in my life. But if you do have those
Yeah,
issues, it
it
could be
could,
bad.
it could also be it also could be a sense of therapy too, though.
It could be because it
Um,
just shows you how different people deal with it, I guess.
yeah, or that things will be okay,
Yeah.
and yeah, because I feel like that. I feel like if you are an anxious person, maybe you can relate to this film, and maybe it'll give you some insight maybe you don't have.
Agreed. Very much agreed. In some way, form, or fashion, it feels like the movie has reached out, especially with his social anxieties and the depression and what he's going through, and the bullying in the school, and being at the top and the peak of everyone's friendship, and then being at the very bottom and being the one everybody's bullied on. It feels like most people, general populace, is going to be able to relate to this film in some form or fashion.
From some point in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that about wraps it up, unless somebody else has anything they want to add or
No,
do.
no. I want to add that I really enjoyed talking to you guys. I really enjoy anime. I really enjoy what you got going on here.
I enjoy nerding out. I appreciate you having me on the show, and can't wait for you to invite me back on.
I appreciate each and every one of you being here. I love you all equally. I love you all to death. And I'm very glad all of you have agreed to be here. I promise next time it will not go nearly as long because this drug out longer than I thought it would. And I believe Norwood has something for us before we close it all out.
Ding, 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 ding. What's that sound? It's everyone's favorite YouTube podcast game show time. All right. Fuck, where did I put it?
Oh my god.
Okay. You guys already know the rules. I told you, like I was going to do before the podcast began, but then I forgot. So here's the rules. I scoured the interwebs to find 3 articles. 2 are real, 1 is fake. I'm gonna read you the headlines. You have to decide which one is the fake one.
Okay, go for it.
So
are we gonna do them in order?
Yeah, I'm gonna name them off. I'll be like, number 1 is this, number 2 is this, and number 3 is this, and then you gotta decide which one is fake.
Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
All right. So first off
If our listeners would like to respond to this, they could, of course, reach out to Brad on any of his social medias.
Yep.
Yeah,
or
put
it doesn't
in
matter.
the
It's
chat.
real. Let's go.
Whatever. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Man trapped in snow for 5 days says he survived on taco sauce packets.
Continue.
Number 2 is dead humpback whale mysteriously appears in Amazon jungle. Number 3 is Florida man drowned in a puddle of cottage cheese.
A Florida man drowned in a puddle of cottage cheese. Final answer.
Yep, I'm going with that one as well.
I'm gonna go with number 2 because I could believe a Florida man drowning in cottage cheese.
That's the whole point. You're supposed to pick the one that's plausible. You're supposed to pick the one that's right.
No, two are real.
Pick the fake one. You're
You're
supposed
two
supposed to
are
pick
real.
the fake one?
Yeah, 2 are real,
Yes.
1 is fake. You have to pick the fake one.
Oh, okay. I'm changing my statement then.
guys.
I'm changing my
Okay.
statement then.
Mine's
Okay.
number 2.
I definitely agree with number 1.
Okay, so you think
number
number one's fake? All right, Eric, you think number 2 is fake? Brad,
Number 2 is fake.
And I'm with number 3.
number 3. Brad, you are correct. That is the fake.
Damn it!
Yo, Victory!
So wait a second. You mean to tell me a blue whale just appeared out of nowhere in the Amazon?
Yeah, it actually happened just a couple days ago. They're trying to figure out how it got there.
And
You never pick the most obvious
You know
one.
what? You pick. I want to play this every week. You do this every week, and I'm listening to the podcast.
oh yeah, we're definitely going to. But here's the thing about number 1. I remember reading that article because he survived off of Taco Bell hot sauce, and Taco Bell gave him a lifetime supply of food because he did that.
To be
Yeah,
honest
he
with
was-
you, that
I
kind
didn't
of
know
feels
that
like a
guy.
castaway moment. I mean, I'm not gonna like survive off of shellfish only to come home and have Red Lobster give me an unlimited supply of shellfish.
well, he survived with his dog, eating taco sauce packets.
I would have ate the dog.
Dude, yeah, I would hate the dog.
Well, the thing is,
All right.
dude would have died, dog would have ate him. It all comes full circle.
Okay, guys, let's end the podcast there.
Yep. I just want to say I'm thankful to have had you all come along with me on this journey. I
Thank you.
appreciate each and every one of you for being here. And I look forward to doing this again next week, hopefully in a lot less time, because holy shit.
Yeah. Thanks for being on. Thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, share. You know all that shit. The bell
Yeah.
thing. There you
Find
go.
all the fun stuff. Do that. And remember,
Yeah,
kids,
stuff will be in description.
don't do drugs. Unless they're steroids. Then do lots of drugs. Have a good night.